NetCC Standard 5, Digital Citizenship. Technology coaches model and promote digital citizenship. In our classes, learning how to use technology in our classrooms, one of the big things that was stressed was making sure that our students are good digital citizens, where that keeps them safe, teaches them their responsibilities for using the technology that is in their hands. And so some of the different things that we did for that, in INST 6230, we created a newsletter that was for parents and for students and for community members to understand all the ins and outs of being a digital citizen. So we put things together that dealt with the digital footprints and reputation in using social media, cyberbullying, which is a huge issue with students, their responsibilities with plagiarism and copyrights, being safe on the internet, what are safe places to go to, what are not safe places to go to, and different things to use if they are, especially on social media. Helping them create positive self-image and identity when they're online, keeping everything private and secure, and again, building those relationships and having communications. In INST 6253, we utilized many forms of social media to communicate information and collaborate. We use things such as Facebook Messenger, Zoom online meeting, and Google Drive, shared documents, and work together. So not only did we learn how to collaborate online, but it also gave us a good idea on how to teach our students to collaborate safely online. In INST 6010, we created an annotated bibliography, and I did mine on using distance learning in career and technical education classroom. Most career and technical education classrooms include a large lab experience, and so looking at how that would work in a distance learning situation when those students aren't with you and how they could perform lab duties was my focus of my annotated bibliography. So I found articles and research that promoted being able to do career and technical education online. I'm currently in INST 6914, so this is not complete yet, but the main goal of this particular class is to conduct a professional development seminar session, teaching other teachers on how to use different technology in their classroom. And so the first thing that needed to be done was a needs assessment, and I did that through a SurveyMonkey link. Just a few quick questions just to see where they are and maybe what they wanted to learn. So I asked them how often that they use technology in their classroom, which tools they have used in the past, if they'd be interested in participating in more professional development about using technology, what they would most likely like to learn about, and then if they were willing to participate, when that would be appropriate for them or when it would be the best for them. In compiling that information, I have started going through and looking at what the questions are and the answers are. I've pulled the information from SurveyMonkey, and that gives me the results. I'm still analyzing some of those and looking at what the responses were and what we're going to provide as professional development in late March. We're going to be holding that professional development session after spring break. One of the things that I noticed, it was a lot of the answers were kind of varied, so I was going through and looking at what had the most responses, and the way that this one was set up, number 1 scores were what they were most interested in. Number 11 scores were what they were least interested in. Interesting enough, what I found interesting enough anyway was on the second line where it's talking about Canvas. This is a learning management system that is provided by our school district, and hardly anybody utilizes it, and not very many people want to learn about it either from what the responses were. To me, that's kind of sad that our school district puts all that money out for it, but nobody's using it. Well, not too many people using it because I use it, but some people, or a lot of people, aren't using it. And if that's really worth the money when there's things such as Google Classroom and that out there. Another part of that standard was to promote diversity and cultural understanding. In INST 6223, we were to create a lesson plan dealing somehow with cultural diversity. And since I am in foods, that made mine probably a little easier maybe than what some people have. So what I did was I created a lesson, a module, that would look at the culture and cuisine of different countries. Students were to pick a country or cuisine from the list provided, and then they were going to look at the agriculture. What kind of stuff do they raise? Crops, animals, that kind of thing. The geography, what their people are like, the history of their country, favorite ingredients of that country, and some of the most popular dishes. And then they were to do a few different things with that, writing a story about their country, picking out a recipe. They would review with a classmate, so there's some collaboration in there. Taking a field trip to a public supermarket that has a great international foods aisle, so they could buy some of the ingredients that they needed to make their menu. And then they did have to do the lab portion of the assignment, and then create a storyboard and a recipe to present to their class. One other thing that we did just for purposes for us to learn a little bit more about things in different cultures was doing the Third World Farmer. And that was a simulated game that put us in a third world country, gave us a little hut, gave us a family, and gave us a certain amount of money to buy crops or livestock, whatever that we wanted to grow. Then different scenarios would come along and we'd have to make decisions on if we were to sell off our children, sell off the wife, sell off the land, what other that might do, pay the drug lords money, all kinds of different things came up. I actually had to do this twice to get far enough to really get into it, because the first time I made some really poor decisions and the game was over in like 4 moves. And then I played it again. What it really taught me is that we don't know a whole lot about how tough it is in other places. But it was good for thinking through, critical thinking, trying to think ahead, trying to plot ahead, and working through just situations that come up that just are real life. Real life for a lot of people around the world, and even some meant for us. Okay. And that is standard 5.